And we're live. Okay, hi guys. How is everybody?
Doing well.
Doing great,
Good
man.
stuff. So I'm delighted to welcome Gary, Trenton, and Brett to the channel for this live stream of Talking Star Wars. So the content will be your thoughts and opinions on Rogue One, Solo, and the current Andor series. So let's start with Rogue One, as that was the first one released. So who wants to go first with that?
Well, I'll go, I guess.
Go on in, go for it.
Come on, Trent.
Rogue One. So, full transparency, Rogue One is probably one of my favorite Star Wars movies ever. Really excited when this one came out. Hard to poke holes in it for me. I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people like the Darth Vader scenes, and those are great, but I think the movie would stand on its own without those for sure. I really got into the story. I really got into the characters. For me, it's probably one of the most emotional movies in the Star Wars franchise for me personally. Having a daughter, having kids, and seeing that scene with Galen Erso, Mads Mikkelsen does an outstanding job when he's the hologram and he's talking to Jin in Saw Gerrera's lair there. It's just that really gets me. And it's weird because, it's a Star Wars movie. Usually they don't get me too emotionally, but this movie really does. And like I say, it's hard to poke holes in it for me. But I really, really did enjoy this one. And like I said, probably top 3 for me in the Star Wars franchise. From start to finish, I mean, I was engaged in it. Really neat new characters, and sprinkling in the old. I think it's got one of the top villains in Krennic, and it's really cool to see him juxtaposed against Tarkin. Tarkin's so cool and collected, and you can see Krennic is just ready to explode. He's like this, this massive energy that's just ready to, you can see, especially when he's like, it's my achievement, and he just, I don't know, really great movie. I'll let the other guys go as well. But as far as an introductory, it's hard to go wrong with Rogue One, in my opinion.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you kind of, you know how it has to end. You don't want it to end that way. And like you say, you're so emotionally invested in the movie that at a certain point you're going, well, I know how it has to end, but I just don't want it to. I don't want it to finish like that. And you want people to escape, and they can't. They have to. They have to go. My one gripe is the deep fake on Tarkin. I mean, again, the technology. I suppose that one is that he just looks very much computer generated or something like that. It's good. It was good to have him there, but like say, maybe the technology wasn't right with the with how he looked. It just looked too CGI for me. That was.
So you saying that, Gary? Do you think that they could go back and improve that?
Yeah, I think it's possible to do that, right?
100%.
I mean, again, it was funny because I didn't mind the Leia piece, with the Leia, and I thought it just kind of blew my mind, and I thought that was great. But Tarkin, it something seemed odd, and I think it would be good to go back and kind of tweak that just to improve on how that finished up.
Brett?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same with like Trenton. It's one of my favorite Star Wars outside of the original trilogy. It's probably my favorite Star Wars film, and it is tough to find anything wrong with it. Gary kind of stole my thunder. I had that as well with Tarkin. I would have kept Tarkin in there, but maybe not focused him on his face so much. Maybe kept him in a little bit of a shadow, because the more the camera focused on his face talking, that's when you started seeing the little imperfections in the technology at the time, and it was a little bit off-putting. So I would have just kept him kind of in the corner of the room talking, something like that, or just maybe not focused on his face for so long. That was my biggest issue with the movie, really. I mean, it was a great movie. The other thing is, I was disappointed they cut that awesome scene from the trailer where the TIE fighter raises up right in front of Jyn Erso. What a cool shot. Maybe one of the best shots to ever be cut from a film. And we didn't even get it in the deleted scenes on the DVD. I'm not sure what was going on. There was several actually shots that were cut out of the film. You know, I think there's rumors they brought in another director to finish up. They had issues with the what's his name, the director of the film.
Was it Gareth Edwards?
Gareth Edwards, right? So
they brought in Tony Gilroy, who's doing Andor.
That's right. Yeah, they brought in. That's exactly right. So maybe those were shots that Gareth had shot, and they just, for whatever reason, they felt it didn't work for the story. But man, they should have got that TIE fighter scene in there.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Well, that's what I read, Brett, was that when the original idea was that after they got the plans, then they had to kind of make their way across the beach to get to the radar tower. So that's a lot of the scenes you see in the trailer, you know, Jen and everyone running across the beach, and she's got and then when they came in and redid it, they made it so the tower was in the same place where they, you know, so they just had to go up and kind of cut all that out. But I'm with you. That scene is almost like they just put that in there for the trailer because it's still there, but there's no TIE fighter there, you know? It's kind of an odd, because it's like, whoa. And then,
So my only other,
go on.
I was just gonna say two more minor things. Is I would have loved to see a little bit more of a couple of the aliens. There was one, I think his name is Pow or Pow.
Oh, Pow. Yeah.
One of the soldiers. I thought he was awesome, but you only get him for about 5 seconds, and then that monkey alien in the ship who's firing. You know, he's the Stan. So I would have loved to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah.
I just wanted more, basically. That's my only gripe, I guess. Yeah.
What I don't want to see, sorry, Stu. What I would change, what I don't want to see is Borg Gullet. We can get rid of that guy. That was awkward, weird. That seems so out of place. We can cut that, and we'll, you know, say they did something else to Bodhi that made his mind a little crazy. That was a weird, strange.
That was maybe the weirdest scene in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
My feeling is when I first watched it, I enjoyed it, but because me and Gary were speaking backstage before you guys showed, and we were saying about how things seemed rushed in certain series that they've done just recently, and I felt there were certain bits in Rogue One that seemed rushed. It's like the breakout when K2SO rescued Jen. I mean, it was just so quick. There was nothing to it apart from him saying you've been rescued, and I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that. So I felt that in certain aspects it was kind of rushed, and they tried to do too much within a confined space of time. Do you think that maybe they could have done Rogue One in 2 or 3 parts, and then you would have had a better feeling and a bit more compassion for the characters?
Yeah, I can see that. I think it's hard to make that story into a longer, you know, then you run into The Hobbit, right? You got a trilogy of movies that could just be one. But there may be some things you could shift around. And I get what you guys are saying. That first part is so different than the rest of the movie because it's just all these quick shots to different planets to kind of set everybody up, and then you kind of get the story rolling. And I can see that maybe having a little bit more backstory for Jen. You know, you get a lot of that in books, right? Catalyst and Rebel Rising. But again, then you're you know, relying on books to kind of get yourself acquainted with characters. And I do think that would be neat to see a little bit more of her backstory, not necessarily as a child, but in the, you know, how does she get in those scrapes and why is she in prison and that kind of thing, and seeing a little bit more, almost more of a buildup of, okay, we got to rescue Jin, and then kind of them planning that and kind of going through it other than just here they are. So I can see that being fleshed out a little bit more for sure. It would have been nice.
You got to love the prison break though, when the, you know, when she when the door's blown off and she's running out of there and K2SO just grabs we're here to rescue you. You're welcome. And now with Andor, with how they've kind of just finished number 7, it's like, oh, am I going to get a prison break now in Andor? Not to jump subjects, Stu, but it's just like, oh, my mind's racing now. Is like, oh, I need an epic prison break because, you know, what was 6 months is now 6 years.
Yeah. Can I just want to say quickly hi to the guys in the chat, Scuba,
Absolutely.
Gerard, Lack, who else we got? and Reynolds Reviews. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. So, yeah, sorry, Gary.
No, well, absolutely. I was going to say, I don't want to jump subjects, but like I say, the Prison Break, it just reminded me of how the episode of number 7 just finished with Andor. Normally 6 months as a sentence has turned into kind of 6 years. So I'm assuming that there's some kind of breakout in that period of time.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the characters as a whole? Sorry.
No.
Trenton.
He can't be in prison for 6. He can't be in prison for 6 years. We'll miss Rogue One.
Yeah.
It's a long, drawn out series.
Well, you did say it's over 20-odd series, so you never know. 20-odd episodes, rather. But yeah. So, sorry. Yeah. What did you think of the characters in general? Because I mean, like I said, I've had to watch it 3 or 4 times to get to know the characters and to get to like the characters, because I left the theatre first time around watching it thinking, well, like I say, it's one film, don't really care too much of these characters, don't really know anything about them. So on the whole, what did you guys think of the characters?
I liked them. I think and from my opinion, they spent just enough time to kind of and give each of them a little thing to do that kind of made you care about them. Now, clearly we don't have as much time like we do in Andor and all this stuff, but you really got the camaraderie aspect between Baze and Chirrut. You got the kind of the helplessness of Bodhi and him trying to, make things right and help out Galen. You kind of saw,
I will him.
Cassian having to, he had to shoot that guy at the beginning, and you can see it in his face that it was something he didn't really want to do. And then you get him being kind of like a stand-up guy. He can't go through with killing Galen Erso. It's his conscience is weighing on him. He's like, if we can rescue this guy and help, and then you see that near the end when he's like, all this guy's here, we've done all these terrible things, and it's got to mean something, And so through all this time, you're kind of little slow pieces to kind of get some kind of care, identifying with the characters and caring about them. At least I did. Now, other movies that we may talk about, you don't necessarily get that, but at least for me in Rogue One, I did have some sort of buy-in with the characters that they introduced.
Do you think it would have been a good idea for them to have introduced characters from Rebels? Because Rebels season 4 kind of like led up to that particular point. So do you think they could have incorporated some like characters from Rebels, say like Hera or?
I'm glad they did.
I mean, she was mentioned. She was mentioned, and you saw Chopper in one of the scenes. But do you think they could have actually, had her be part of that mission?
It's funny now because, like you say, you're starting to see Andor now, and in the last episode, like when they're doing the address to the room, and he talks about speaking with Emperor Palpatine. I like that. You can mention names and do the name drop thing and say this is going on in the background that makes you think more, rather than saying, oh well, here's Palpatine and there's some kind of scene. It doesn't have to happen that way. And I think introducing Rebels into Rogue One, for me personally, I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't.
You're glad they didn't.
Yeah. I think it would have been a distraction from the movie. I just thought something else popped in my mind was when they showed 3PO and R2. That I didn't think was necessary. I thought it was an unnecessary. It just seemed like forced, fan service to throw them in, and it would have felt the same to bring in the Rebels. I feel like.
Actually saying that, when I think about what I've said and listen to what you guys are saying, I guess I totally agree with that. I mean, because they did the same with Ponda Baba, didn't they? And Dr. Everson.
How did they get? Where was their ship to get off the plane?
There you are.
But I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah. I guess it sounded good up here, but then when you actually hear other people's like thoughts and opinions and stuff like that, it does make sense not to have them in it.
Yeah.
Hello there. So all good.
Yeah. I agree with Gary. I think just having just the little, they don't say, hey, here's Chopper, but you can see him if you're looking, and the announcement of Hera. I think those are fine little, drops here and there just to kind of make the world cohesive, but you don't have to have them, front and center. I think
it's actually nicer to have the kind of Easter egg and go back and have to look at it. I mean, it's the same with the artifacts in Andor in shop.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, not everybody sees what everybody sees first go around, and you say even though it's relatively slow paced and they're panning across slowly, you then go back and go, oh yeah, that's really neat. You didn't see it the first go around. You saw it maybe after somebody spotted it, and we all like to deep dive and then go back and go, yeah, it's pretty neat. That's.
I guess they had Saw Gerrera in it as well, didn't they? So he was in it. Yeah. So he was in Rebels, and he was also in Clone Wars as well, wasn't he? So
looks a little different now.
He does, yeah. Well, that's what War does.
He's been through a lot, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been a bit rough those later years.
Well, let's talk about Kenobi. 10 years, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen. I kind of get that, and I mean, we weren't going to talk about Kenobi, but as we're here, and you mentioned it, I can totally see. Oh, I see what you mean about him being on Tatooine and
aging.
Yeah, I mean,
aging. Yeah,
right. I mean, it's pretty rough on Tatooine.
Well, yeah, definitely get that. Blimey. So, is there anything that you guys would have changed with it? Is there anything they could have done better? Anything that apart from taking out Ball Hollet?
No, I mean, like I said, I can see your point, and I think that maybe could have improved the film if they were able to even out.
Hang on, Trent. Sorry, Shabby. We are boy band material, my friend. Boy band material. Love none of that nonsense.
I think Jyn Erso's backstory it was very sped up in terms of you're getting in a hidden area and then Saul comes and then all of a sudden you've gone to the kind of prison break. You don't really ever explore the backstory of Jyn and how she comes from a child to be like we're seeing Andor now, which I suppose is great, but then are we going to go back and do the Jyn Erso story, which I'm up for that.
I'll sign up. It's basically just a couple sentences, right, to kind of explain. She used to work for Saw, and then everyone started to put two and two together that she was Galen Erso's daughter, and then he had to kind of get rid of her. So, yeah, that would be possibly an interesting thing to follow along. If they're going to show Saw Gerrera in this movie, yeah, she's probably not with him by now, but that's it.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself, the timeline when she was with his crew and then he left her. I don't know where that fell within the Andor.
She said she was 16. She was 16 when he left her. Yeah, so depending on when we see him, it's probably close, but I doubt she'll be with him.
And it's one of those movies like you remember Leon the Professional, and
love that movie.
So yeah, but she in the cut version she goes from this little girl and then she's kind of like the going for the full assassin. But in the uncut with all the extra bits in there, you see the progression of what she does, and I think again that would have been good to see a little bit more of some flashbacks for Jyn of doing a mission or doing just a bit more than what we saw.
Yeah, the one flashback's just her as a child on Coruscant, and that's in the book Catalyst follows that storyline of her as a child and growing up while her dad is working on the technology.
Brett, opinions, thoughts? Would you want to change anything? See anything different?
No, I mean, apart from what you guys said, those were some good things. Going back to what I said earlier about Tarkin, again, I just would have cut down the amount of FaceTime with the bright lights right on his face, revealing those imperfections of the technology. Maybe they could go back now and do a special edition and redo with the latest stuff. I mean, that what they did with Mark Hamill on Book of Boba Fett was pretty amazing to me. So maybe they could go back and fix that. But that's just one of the minor things I would have changed. Yeah.
And you were happy with the Darth Vader scenes at the end and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. And I was fine with Leia because we weren't just focused on her and she wasn't talking. If she had just kept talking and talking, it probably would have started being a turnoff like it was with Tarkin. But I was fine with that. I love the Vader scene. Yeah, that was awesome. Like Trenton said, you didn't need it to make the movie, because the movie was about the regular folks fighting, on the boots on the ground, right? Not Jedi. It wasn't about Jedi. So I think it didn't. Trenton said it perfectly. It didn't need the Vader scene to stand on its own, but it was an awesome little bit to throw in there. It was. I mean, I just remember how excited I was to see that.
Yeah.
Seeing Vader, kick butt.
What did you make of the CGI for Leia's face? Were you happy with that, or do you think that could have been improved?
I thought it was good enough. I think it could be better, but I felt for the time it was fine.
It felt like I said, she wasn't Tarkin. That's how I felt. It was just like, the glimpse there was okay. It was good. And and like I say, when you look focused on Tarkin, it was just like, it ain't good. And that's where I have the gripe. Going back to the Vader scene, I mean, again, like you say, when he ignites the saber and it's just like, oh my God, I'm sat up on my seat. I'm feeling, it's just like kick ass, boom, boom, doom, doom, up, down, and that, woo, woo, woo. I just, man, I thought it was epic.
I quite like the bit as well where Krennic goes to Vader's castle. I thought that was quite a decent scene as well. So you'll tell the Emperor about my blah blah blah, and he starts choking him and stuff like that, and you think, oh well, here we go and stuff like that. I thought he was gonna kill him off, but no, I like I said, I had to watch the film about 3 or 4 times before I actually really got involved in the characters and stuff like that. It takes a while sometimes, but overall, I didn't think it was a bad film. I hope, like you said, Brett, that they go back and do a special edition where they fix Tarkin and maybe make him look a little bit better. But on the whole, I didn't mind the movie. I didn't mind the movie at all. So moving on then, Solo. Who wants to go first?
All right. All right. So Solo, get out of the way. I like it. It's okay. Yeah. But the saying we have, I don't know if it's, and I'll clean it up. They tried to pack 10 pounds of stuff into a 5-pound bag, in my opinion. You got to find out where he came from, how he got his name, how he got his gun, how he met Chewbacca, how he met Lando, how he got the ship, how they destroyed the ship. It's like, holy moly. Let's pick a couple things, center on that, and tell that story. Everybody knows who Han Solo is. We could have jumped in midway through one of his adventures. We didn't need to start all the way at the beginning, and maybe just tell a little story about a heist that he and his good buddy. We know how Mike feels about. Just a high story with him and Lando. Because I always got the impression he knew Lando for a long, long time, and it's just like he barely knows Lando, and then he's got the Millennium Falcon from him, And so I just think slow it down, tell one story that tells one or two things. That the dynamic between him and Chewbacca is, in my opinion, the best thing in that movie. I really love that dynamic. And I think having them as buddies right off the start, and then maybe meeting Lando then, or he already knew Lando and they're going to do a heist, and he already knows about the Millennium Falcon and he thinks it's so great and he wants to get it from him. I just felt like there's so much stuff in there that we got to learn it, all the new, these new things. I don't know. That aside, I like the movie. Okay. It's fun, but I just feel like they're trying to do way too much. That's one that would have been nice as a bunch of, a couple different movies, or one that would have really thrived in a series, a streaming series setting. I had no problem with Alden Ehrenreich. I thought he did a fine job. True. I think all the actors are good. But that's this is one where you're not with them, in my opinion, enough to care. Like the Rio Durant character would have been cool. He's gone right away. Right. Yeah. Val is, I don't even understand why she sacrificed. It's not like they're going to die. They can get out of there, but she sacrifices herself for a heist. Very confusing. I think she would have been a neat character, but gone too quick. So it's one of those things where it's a fun movie, but you just start going, huh, what, and while Rogue One found a way to do a droid character very well.
Oh, don't get me started on that droid.
all I'm gonna say is,
yeah,
they found a way to do a droid character not as good, and so there's a lot of things I feel like you could change about this movie or make different to make it better. And
I just found that weird. Is it LR37 and Lando?
L3 or something like that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the living room always gets crickets. My kids don't quite understand what's going on when they start talking about that stuff, and it's like, and they aren't laughing, and I'm not explaining. So,
yeah, and again,
yeah,
I think
fair point, Chebs. Fair point.
There's glimpses of the movie. It's like there's when they're doing the speeder and they're being chased and all of that. That's cool. It's great. It's epic, and then all of a sudden it would kind of fall off, and the cohesion wasn't there like you had with Rogue One. It was elements of the movie was great, and elements of the movie that was just, oh man, it's just like,
because this film had a lot of issues, didn't it, with the directors? They got rid of the directors because of artistic differences and something like that. So they ended up getting Ron Howard in late in the day. So he sort of finished it off, didn't he? But Brett, what do you think? Before I say,
I thought it's a pretty good movie. I think it's underrated. I think it's better than a lot of people get it credit for. I think Ron Howard did an excellent job trying to put that thing together late in the game. Y'all may not. This may be an unpopular take. I think what hurt it the most is it wasn't Harrison Ford playing Solo. And I think the actor Alden, he did an awesome job nailing the character of Han Solo. And I think a lot of people, me included, just found it a little hard to swallow not having Harrison Ford play Solo. And, I would actually love to see, this is not realistic, by the way, but I would have loved to have seen them actually do Harrison's face and his voice. I mean, that would be completely unfair to the actor. But I've seen some deep fake scenes from Solo, and I just thought, I got chills. I thought, oh, this is awesome. But that being said, the actor did an awesome job. I wasn't feeling L3. I did like when she set the droids free and started the little revolution. I thought that was pretty funny. Gary doesn't. No, he didn't like that part. But I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, there's parts you could pick the whole movie apart, but I thought it overall was a fun movie, and I thought they nailed the relationship between Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah,
I was cool with how they met. I thought that was pretty awesome. The fight in the mud. So there was a lot of it I was happy about.
But it felt unfinished. Did you still not feel like it felt unfinished because you got the Maul, Darth Maul at the end with the hologram, and Kira was going off, and it was just like, just feels unfinished business. I mean, again, you can truly understand why everybody's like going, make Solo 2 happen, because it's just you didn't finish what you started. You gotta fit. We gotta know more, and again, just. Where does it go from here, and how does it interconnect or piece back together? Because too many questions left unanswered for me.
The thing is, again, with most of these Star Wars, you get the films, and then you get a lot of the comics and the novels. So a lot of that story would then continue over into a novel.
Yeah.
But a lot of people they don't pick this up. A lot of them don't like. Well, not say that they don't like reading, but a lot of people don't go out and buy the books. They don't read the comics. So a lot of story does get sort of, pushed aside and stuff like that. So I would rather see something like that in a visual form and watch it on the TV than read it in a book or a comic. Do you know what I mean?
There's the is it Kira in the Crimson Reign? There's that series of comic books, and I think I think that for me that would make an epic Star Wars kind of series. I mean, because you get the character introductions, you also then understand the kind of the underworld of all these these kind of groups that are operating independently. They're not rebel, they're not not empire, and they're just doing their thing, and yeah, I think it would be good to see more from that series. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's almost like the end of it. They're going off to do a couple things that seem like might be more interesting than the actual movie you
What
watched.
we just saw, yeah.
Yeah. So, they're gonna obviously go see Jabba, and she's going off to meet Darth Maul. It's like, oh, I want to see that.
See, I would have liked to have seen that from the start. I would like to have seen more Han Solo as the smuggler. But I guess they went right back to his early days, didn't they? Then it's sort of once you've done that, then you've got to try and explain everything and tell you how he gets to where he gets. So I'm with you, Trenton. They tried to cram too much in again to too short a space of time. But I feel the reason why the film I think was very underrated was because it came out slap bang just after The Last Jedi. So I think everybody by that time
really
was totally pissed with Star Wars, and they were pissed with that movie, and I think that had a fundamental effect on Solo. So do you think if that hadn't been brought out right then after Last Jedi, it might have been received a little bit better? It might have got.
Yeah, I think that played a part in it, and I think Brett's right too. I think just maybe the average moviegoer who's not like a huge fan is like, I thought Harrison Ford was Han Solo. What's this? I'll pass. So I think you had a double, right on the heels of Last Jedi, and no Harrison Ford. So like I said, that didn't bother me, but I think it might have turned off other viewers. So
do you think they could have got away with deep faking Harrison Ford's face?
I don't think so then.
Not at the time. No. Maybe now, maybe.
Yeah, and right now you're only seeing little bits. I mean, I don't know how much screen time Luke had in Book of Boba Fett, but in a whole movie with as much as Han Solo's in there, I don't think we're quite there yet. Well, maybe now, but that's going to take a lot, I think, to carry a whole film that way.
Yeah, because I know for me it was difficult, not to say difficult to watch it, but it was kind of hard to watch it knowing that someone else was playing Han Solo and not Harrison Ford. And like we were lucky enough to grow up with the original trilogy, and Harrison Ford for me has always been Han Solo, as he'll always be Indiana Jones. So it was really difficult to sit and watch someone else play the part. And I think one of you guys mentioned it. You wanted to see someone play Han Solo, not do an impression of Harrison Ford. And I think the guy he had that's it. Yeah, he had a lot to do, but I thought he did okay. That's big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I thought he did as good as anyone could.
I mean, again, Lando.
Yeah.
I mean,
Again,
it's not.
Yeah, he nailed Lando.
It didn't really bother me. In terms of like timing and of where my head was at, it was actually okay for it to be Harrison Ford. It's like, I've got that piece, and this is okay. I just would have preferred the movie to be more cohesive or concentrate on a certain few things rather than trying to do everything.
I mean, that the one scene that I think they could have done without was that droid revolution. I mean,
I'm alone on that one, I guess.
Well, Brett.
That was just awful. I mean, come on, gee whiz. I mean, if you're trying to put a bloody political point across it and feminism and all that kind of malarkey, I mean, it was just. Well, I mean, the way she walked as well, the hips. For God's sake, that was possibly one of the worst performances.
What's worse, Stu, that or the droid factory scene in Attack of the Clones?
Oh man, okay. Oh.
But you remember, in the original trilogy,
they were both awful.
In the original trilogy, they always kind of depicted droids as kind of this lower class form, right?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, I thought it was kind of playing on that and not trying to make some modern day political statement.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, especially those you had that like cage, didn't you? And when where were they?
That was a little
droids and stuff like that.
Yeah, with Ron Howard's brother.
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Again, I just think why do they want to put these bits in? It's just I could do without that bit, and I could have done without the droid scene in what was it, Attack of the Clones for sure, definitely.
With the head swapping and all that.
Oh God! I mean, I used to like C-3PO, but that was just
That was difficult to stomach. Yeah,
it was hard. I mean, because I think Trenton, you really liked that movie, didn't you?
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
And I think.
I love Attack of the Clones. I just didn't like that part.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Not for me. Not for me. And what do you think of the bit where they oh, what does he do? Oh, what's that one he does? And he does the what's it run in less than 12 parsecs.
Kessel
what was
Run.
that called again?
Oh,
Kessel Run. Yeah,
Kessel
yeah.
Run.
What did you think about them adding that in? Do you think they could have done away with that or not bothered with that, or because it was mentioned in Star Wars: A New Hope, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's one of those things. Like I said, they just, I feel like they had to pack. Well, we got to do that too. You know, it's one of the things they had.
It was a box they had to tick. Yeah,
Make the whole movie about a heist they have to do and that versus, and then cut out all the other stuff and just make it a mission. I mean, that's what and it was weird. I thought it was weird too. Just the, trying to go through that maelstrom and the creature and all that stuff. It's kind of strange.
It does explain it, right, though, because I mean, I think everybody saw kind of Star Wars and said, oh well, they did the Kessel Run in how many ever parsecs, but
12.
parsecs is distance, so he took a shortcut. So it kind of did at least explain that it wasn't a time related thing. It wasn't the fact that the Millennium Falcon was so fast. It was just that they managed to do it a shortcut and on the Kessel Run to a distance, which to me makes more sense. And it's like, I was okay with that.
Thanks to L3, right?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, another thing they could have cut out and they could have done. I could have been happy not seeing was the fact that she was saying to Kira in the cockpit that Lando was attracted to her. Come on, woman, pull yourself together. No chance. What was all that about as well? I mean, you just think, my God. I like the film, but I think sometimes they tried to make it a bit too comical, and I liked Han. I mean, he was a cocky, smug, kind of arrogant guy in A New Hope. But then when you see him previous, he acts like he's like a clown. I mean, that bit where he's clicking the detonator, and she goes, "Oh, that's a rock. You've just made a clicking noise." No, I haven't. It's a. I mean,
that scene also bothers me because I like the henchman Mullock. He's one of those worm creatures, and he talks in a different language. And then you got Lady Proxima who talks like that old lady on the Dark Crystal. And I was like, oh, come on, man. Just keep her in that same language. I think it'd be a lot more effective and
have subtitles. Yeah.
I don't, you can get away with Rio Durant, talking like Jon Favreau, but make her a little more intimidating and
What? Yeah. I mean, they did try and make it too comical, didn't they? Because the two guys that started directing it, what did they did a comedy, didn't they? What did they do together? Which film was it they did?
Oh, they did the Lego movie, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. They did the Lego movie.
Yeah, and 21 Jump Street. Is that?
I think so.
Yeah. So I think they are known for doing comedies, and I think this movie, from what I understand, was supposed to be a comedy, and I might have got too comedic for Lucasfilm, and they had to.
I don't mind wisecracks. I don't mind the wisecracks that he comes out with and stuff like that, and I don't mind that. I like that, but I just think sometimes it just went a bit too on the comedic side, and it didn't really. To me, that's not Han Solo. Do you know what I mean? I know he had wisecracks in A New Hope and Empire and Jedi. I get that, and I think Harrison Ford pulled it off really well, but I think they tried to make it too funny. You know what I mean? It was, but
yeah, and they also, he doesn't have to be ruthless, but he shoots Beckett at the end, before Beckett can even finish his sentence. But of course, he's got to go over, oh man, and be the nice guy still, and I can see they're trying to juxtapose that. At the end, he is a nice guy, he is a hero and everything, but so he did get to shoot first, but he still had to show remorse for shooting first.
That that comment you made there, Trenton, I like that, because a lot of people were turning around saying when they did the special editions of Star Wars and Greedo shot first, they turned around and said, well, Han's not that kind of guy. He wouldn't have shot first. So do you think this was well, yeah, he would have done. So he shot first and.
Yeah, I think they were trying to reverse that in a way and show, oh yeah, he, kind of a wink at all of us. Yeah, he does shoot. Because Greedo doesn't even shoot at all. If you well, that's boil it down. Greedo never shoots. He just shoots him, and why wouldn't he? But I don't know.
What did you think of the Tobias Beckett character, Brett? What did you think of him?
I liked him. I thought it made sense as a mentor to Solo. You could see where he picked up some mannerisms and stuff and looked up to the guy. I was fine with him. I was not fine with the Val character. It didn't make sense putting her in there and just to have her sacrifice herself. I thought that was very awkward and not heartfelt at all. It was just like, wait, why is she sacrificing? We haven't gotten to know her to care about her.
It's been a ride, babe. I mean, that's probably the worst one, isn't it? It's been a ride, babe. Cheers, love. You know what I mean? And boom, it's like.
Yeah, and I love Tandy Newton, and I thought she would have made a great character in Star Wars, but they just kind of did her wrong in that role. But Beckett, I did like Beckett quite a bit. Yeah, actually, I was totally fine with Beckett.
It proves that you can put like an established actor in those roles, and it's fine, right? It's like you say, Woody Harrelson can just drop into that role and play a decent role, and you not be sidelined or sidetracked by his other roles. I like that. It's the same as it Skarsgård in Andor.
Oh yeah,
I mean, from Mamma Mia to Andor. Yeah, but he's awesome. He's awesome. And again, I think that's testament to the actors that they cast for certain roles. Some are great, some are not so great.
What did you guys make of the twist? Because I have to say, I really enjoyed that, and I didn't see that coming. And it was probably quite obvious to some people, but I did not see that twist coming when it was Beckett that sort of, done him over and stuff like that. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I thought that was good, and I thought it was cool to see, Han one-upped him. Han was also had knew that Beckett was going to turn him in, so he had a plan to counteract that. So I thought that was really good. I thought that was a good twist, a good move, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah, the double cross of the double cross, right? You're always trying to be one step ahead. It's those elements kind of add an extra dimension to the whole movie, and it's just like, okay, yeah, clever.
Yeah, no, it was good. Brett, you agree?
Oh yeah, I like the twist. Yeah, it was fine. It felt like a good heist movie with something a good heist movie would do. So yeah, I was totally good with that. Yeah.
Now, I can't remember what's the character, but I also thought he played a decent bad guy.
Drayden Voss.
Drayden
Voss.
Yeah.
And
Drayden Voss. That's it. Yeah.
And he's an awesome actor as well. He's one of those ones.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of movies, and again, from that standpoint, I thought he played a very good kind of, gangster type guy with a pretty sick mentality.
He was quite menacing, wasn't he? Just the way he said things and how he said things. He didn't have to show his muscle and all that sort of stuff. It's just the way he imposed himself and the way he said things. And I thought that was great. It's like, and we'll deal with that later, sort of thing, when he was saying about her little soft spot for him and stuff like that.
Yeah. I thought it was cool too, as he gets more agitated, whatever those things are on his face start to get redder, and he was pretty menacing. He can come across as all, affable, and then he's like,
yeah.
No, I thought it was Paul Bettany.
That's great. It. Yeah. He played Vision, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
Vision.
Oh, hello. Oh, all good. Yeah. All good. Boy band material.
Tryouts are commencing.
Yeah.
We got some legends in the chat.
We have, yeah.
Scuba.
But going back to
Shabby, Usual Mike, and now Tim.
go into Scuba's comment, and he made it a while ago. It's like it's that era of all the gangsters, right? You want to see the different gangs and the way that
Did I
the
miss
whole
that?
thing. No, I think
Oh
you put
my!
up on the screen. It was a little while ago, but
Oh,
Shows
okay,
the
yeah,
gangsters.
yeah.
Yeah.
just
Would you have been happy to have seen some more bounty hunters, or were
Yeah.
you quite happy with the way things were?
I think I want to see more bounty hunters every time. That it's the same with when you go back now to the Book of Boba Fett or something like that. It's just like, no, you glossed over or you took a different path, and no, I want to see the bounty hunters. I want to see what all the different fractions.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Particularly in a movie like this, you couldn't get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it would have been good to have seen more of the Pike Syndicate as well, really, I think, because they got brought up, didn't they, in the Book of Boba Fett. So they were quite pivotal in this, weren't they? Because that's where they were on Kessel, weren't they? They were the Pikes on Kessel, weren't they? The mining.
Yeah.
The mining.
Mm.
They looked a little bit different from Book of Boba Fett, I think. But that was
and they look a lot different from the animated ones too. It's kind of weird. They haven't quite I don't feel like captured the essence of what the Pikes look like versus the animated series. I thought it was cool too. I don't know if you guys, you probably did in season 7 of Clone Wars. They bring Dryden Voss in as a hologram when the Syndicate.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was
did they?
cool.
Yeah.
When Maul's talking to his kind of lieutenants there in a hologram. Dryden Voss is one of them. Yeah.
See, I'd have liked to have seen more of Maul as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's I mean, you whetted our appetite right at the end, and then you just kind of left us hanging. It's just like that's like Trenton said. That's what I want to see. I just go and show me more of that. Forget what we just saw. I want to see.
Because he was heavily involved in the syndicates, wasn't he? In Clone Wars, he was like the head of the syndicates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sort of like ruled over them and stuff. So it would have been good to. Again, it was a bit of a shock for me to see him because I wasn't expecting to see him in that. At the end, that was quite Sunday morning. This is part of the world, so I don't know. Make videos much happier having brilliant. He wasn't talking to us, but never mind.
In that time, you also see his mechanical legs, right? I mean, it's now from the the
spider-looking legs thing.
To the mechanical.
Yeah,
it's just like.
Yeah, he had a good look, I thought, and it was Ray Park, right? They brought back in Ray, and then had Sam Witwer doing the voice.
The voice,
so that was a nice tie-in.
Not sure why he needed to ignite his lightsaber, but it was still cool.
I know.
Oh yeah,
just so you know.
Just so you know. This really is me.
One person we haven't mentioned really that much was Lando. What did you think of his performance, Donald Glover?
I thought it was fine. I thought there was quite a few. If you close your eyes, it sounds just like Billy D. I thought it was fine. I'm not sure if I liked the way he was portrayed so much. That's writing, but I thought he did a good job playing the Lando that they wanted us to see.
Yeah, wasn't too happy with his shirts though. I wasn't too happy with.
Oh come on, Stu! Hawaiian shirt. That was the best thing Solo gave us was that Hawaiian shirt. We got to figure it too. So
didn't they go
really
to the
I know,
Millennium Falcon, and then we had all the cloaks,
all his capes.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had his skiff gear as well, didn't they? From Return of the Jedi in there, because didn't Beckett wore it, didn't he?
Yep.
He did.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
Yeah. Oh, they also had to show the scene where Chewie pulled the arms out of one sockets. That was in the lift, wasn't it? So it's just standing there. Like that. Okay.
It's like, that's the outfit that would have fit me.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Solo. Let's crack on with some more current a TV series. Andor. What are you guys thinking of that? Brett, we'll have you go first, I think.
I think it's fantastic. It's definitely my second favorite of the live shows. I don't think it's quite as good as Mandalorian, but it's very well done, very well acted. It's something we haven't seen with Star Wars. It's a much more serious, more grown up Star Wars, and so I like that. It's something different. It's almost like a complete 180 from Book of Boba Fett, right? So. I like it. It's intriguing. It is a slow burn. Everyone talks about that, right? There's times it does get a little too slow for my liking, but they always make up for it, and they certainly made up for it in the last couple episodes, I think. I'm a little curious on where we're going with Cyril. That's definitely taking its time to develop what he's going to be doing. But again, the acting is fantastic. What's his name? Luthen is so good. I really like Luthen. Fantastic actor. Mon Mothma again. They're all good. So I'm just really pleased with that. I would like to see it continue to build into some climactic episodes with a little more action at some point, and I think it will. I think we will see that. But overall, yeah, I'm very satisfied with it. I don't know. Are we talking spoilers from the last episode? Is that safe?
Well, it's well, yeah, If people
Sunday, come on,
haven't seen it,
Yeah.
exactly.
Come on, get your act together, people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, one thing I just wanted to add is I loved in the last episode was to see the KX droids, or KX droids, show up and not be K2SO, because you really got that sense of how scary these dudes are. You know, they're pretty brutal, and you know, K2 had that charming personality, so he was almost kind of a comical character, great character, probably my favorite droid in all Star Wars, maybe. But I loved seeing how brutal those guys were in that last episode. That was pretty cool. So
and you've seen that in Mando, right? We've done flashbacks of when they're going on Mandalore.
That was
Book of
Boba Fett.
Oh yeah,
you would have been mistaken.
It was basically
think
Mando.
It was a Mando, but yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Mando 2.5.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Precursor to season 3.
So Trenton,
I did like that, Brett, when you kind of see him coming up the sand dune, and then all of a sudden he's got two guys just flying it. Yeah. No, I really like Andor. Agree 100% with Brett there. I really like, there's a lot of dialogue, but it's like I'm on the edge of my seat for that because I'm trying to, what's going on? There's a lot of really neat things, and they're just slowly putting it together. You talk about Cyril, and it's just this slow, methodical putting it together. Just seeing this guy, in my opinion, boil. He's just really starting to, boil. Got to go home to mom. Mom's always picking at him. Collar's too high. You're desperate. Look where he's going to work. And you see him in his room, and he's got that hologram of Andor, and he's just waiting to get that guy because that guy ruined his life, right? And with a show like this, I find myself really paying attention, and I don't really do this much, and I'm like, wow, this is just to see how things are shot, how things are lined up, different scenes. This last episode, when you have I can't remember her name, but it's Luthen's assistant, and she's kind of on that covert, sneaking around, cloak and dagger, and she's going to meet, is it Vel? I think and she's going to meet Vel, and just the way it's shot, framed, her walking, the foot, and then you see the thing on the ground. She knows which way to go. I think that's really neat because it's almost setting an atmosphere, and it's like a tension. And I really felt tension when Mon Mothma's talking to her childhood friend, who's the banker, at her party. Yeah. And it's just constantly them swirling around, and you can always see the husband kind of in the background, kind of giving the side eye. And it's like, oh man, and she's like, smile, and she just knows the game, and you're just like waiting for him to interrupt or overhear or what. And oh man, I just really enjoy that. Yeah. It's like Gary said earlier, just the little pieces they drop in there. They mention Wobani, and they mention Scarif, and they're mentioning Sly Moore and the Grand Vizier. Yeah. And, Palpatine's being talked about. It's just all these little tiny pieces, and it's like, ooh, are we gonna see a little of that, or we know they're building to this. And one last thing, how great is this ISB these ISB scenes. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Holy smokes! Just the backstabbing and the one-upsmanship, and then they bring in, you know, is it Colonel Yularen now?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I love it. I love it a lot. So I'm really enjoying this show. It's just intrigue. I think it's intrigue, right? Is that the genre? It's just a thriller, and it's really building. And I'm excited to see what's next. I can't wait to see the next episode, because what more are we going to find out? You know?
It was an interesting point you made there, Trenton, about the ISB scenes and the backstabbing and stuff like that, and the gamesmanship and the trying to get one up on each other.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me a bit of Captain Piet and Admiral Ozzel in Empire Strikes Back. You could definitely see there's a little bit of tension between those two in the brief scene that you did see between them. So this isn't like a thing that's uncommon in the Imperial Navy and stuff like that. It seems like it's going to be something that's, you know, trying to get one up on each other and stuff like that. So I do like that. And I like the politics of it and stuff like that, and where it's going, and the movement and the startup of it. And I think Mon Mothma's great. I think she's absolutely brilliant, and I like Luthen as well. And I think the two of them together, when they're having that discussion, it was you know, tell me it wasn't you, and stuff like that. And in the shop again, just the way it's being acted, I think, and played out, and the way it's been written and shot, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah. Brilliant. Gary?
And it's that constant arc of 3, right? We're doing it like 3 episodes is a storyline. With this series, I think it's actually, dare I say it, better than Mando, because I'm not getting a filler episode. In the Mando series, sometimes I watch an episode and go, yeah, that was just a 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 50 minutes of a filler episode, and I didn't gain anything. In this, I can feel the tension building and the constant storyline progressing, to the point where I wish I didn't have to wait a week for the next one, but it gets to the point where I can't go a couple of weeks to stack them up to do back to back. You know, it's like I'm too invested not to watch it, but at the same time, when I've seen the next episode, I want more and quicker. So it's a catch-22 scenario. But no, I think it's great. I love the pace. I really do think the pace is actually. I've never got to the point where it's like, oh, come on, move along. It is great. The snippets, like Trenton said, and you know, clone troopers, and you know, and stormtroopers, and you know, and just you know, and then you know, Andor's hiding, and then he's got this like flashback, and yeah, I just think the whole cinematography is fantastic. The way that they're piecing this together.
And what I like about it as well is that they've not bombarded it with Imperials. It's not been over reliant on, like you say, your stormtroopers and your Imperials and stuff like that. You just see bits of the Imperials that you haven't seen before, like the ISB. I love the scene where the TIE fighter pilots were getting into their fighters and stuff like that.
Oh my god, yeah,
that was awesome.
Just that,
yeah.
And that the whole scene is somebody just twisting, and it's like, oh my god, and the noise, right? I mean, it's again when they're on when they're doing a heist, and then you get a TIE fighter come across the landscape, and it's just like,
yeah.
Can I rewind and watch that bit again? The sound is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying you prefer this to The Mandalorian?
Dare I say, yeah.
I love
The Mandalorian, but I actually think this series for me is I had more anticipation for this, and again, it's just the fact that there isn't right now any fillers. I'm just totally invested in this, and you know how it links obviously to the Rogue One, so you kind of you know what it's leading up to. So there's less like, how are we going to get there? Whereas Mando can go anyway, right? You don't know which direction it's going to take, and for me, sometimes that's disappointing from the Mando side.
Yeah, definitely,
and I
because they're going to meet up. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go on, please.
I think what's cool about a show like this is it shows that we can have different kinds of Star Wars, right? So you've got, you know, the Grand Adventure, Saturday matinee serial, and that's the main movies. And then we've kind of got these, and I wish they would do more, but I know Solo tanked it, but they've got these little, side stories that are closer to the movies, or the main movies, but they're a little bit of a divergent, right? And then from those, so you've got like Rogue One offshoot, and then from Rogue One, you have another offshoot, which is Andor, and that could be even further away from the tone of the main movies, but still tell a Star Wars type story in that overarching universe. I mean, it's as far away from the main movies as you can get as far as tone and adventure and this and that, but it's a different kind of story, and you can go in all different kind of directions. And we've been seeing that for years with the books and the comics. They all have different kinds of feelings to them. And I think that we're just seeing that now in visual form, which is awesome.
It's interesting you said about movies and stuff like that. I think Disney did plan to do like a Star Wars movie every year.
Yeah.
Or every couple of years. But I think Solo not being received that well, sort of like, and The Last Jedi kind of put pay to that. So I think they thought, well, hang on a minute, because I think wasn't Obi-Wan supposed to be a movie as well? And then they sort of like canned that, and then they put it into like a series.
Mm-hmm. I think they were working on a Boba Fett movie too. I think Josh Trank was supposed to, and that got
canned. Yeah,
not enough content.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Andor again. It's I'm really enjoying it. I know a lot of people have sort of like bemoaned about the slow pace and that, but sometimes you don't need like sort of like loads of action all the time. It's about the story, and I think they're telling a story, and I think they're going about it in the right way. So that's So I think everybody's enjoyed it. Everybody's getting on with it. Yeah,
and it gives you those little extras that Rogue One kind of. I mean the Death Trooper, the Mud Trooper. I mean again, just now that that's embedded into Mando, and now we're going to see what a Riot Trooper and with the kind of modified but sort of black version of it. I think it expands the universe, but also keeps it it all. To me, that all makes sense. It really
because they've still got to meet up with Saul Guerrero because he's going to be in it as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's going to be in it, and then you've got I think obviously K2SO is going to come into it at some point. So they've already because you need to find out how Cassian Andor met K2SO. So I'm assuming that could have something to do with the prison break. You don't know, do you?
Well, I heard I heard that K2 is going to appear in the second season. Did you guys hear that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Season 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what Alan Tudyk, who does the voice, I think said second season is when he's slated to show. So they might just be kind of laying those kernels. Oh, remember these guys? And, obviously they'd be using the security droids for security on that awesome vacation planet that I would like to go to. That'd be pretty... Well, maybe when the Empire's not around, but fun.
Yeah.
But it was used kind of the Scarif troopers, right, at the beach resort.
Of course,
right?
The Scarif troopers.
Interesting fact. So I can't remember which episode it was. I think it might have been episode 4 of Andor. It's the bit where it's on Coruscant, and you've got that big window. You've got that big like white corridor with the bridge going across the top. And you've got that big bay window. And outside you can see the ships and stuff. That was actually McLaren. That was actually filmed at McLaren. Yeah. So
what's that? Is that something?
That's where I work.
For the
Formula One.
What? Yeah. Oh, those are cars. McLaren are vehicles, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
awesome.
the building that and I think what else did they use it in? They've used it in a couple of other films as well. So, but yeah. So right, okay, we'll move on to the next subject, and this is going to be a bit of a challenge for you three. So I did the same with the other guys. So basically, it's about the sequels. Now, a lot of people bash the sequels, and for damn good reason. So my challenge to you each is I want you to name one good thing about each of the movies. So The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. So one good thing that you enjoyed about the film. So I think we're going to go with Gary first. The Force Awakens, Gary. One good thing you liked about that film. And you can't say beginning credits and end credits.
Kylo's, when we first see Kylo, and then he kind of Poe does the blaster, and he holds the the blaster in the air. I thought that was using the Force to kind of hold that, the blast was a good start. It started okay.
It started okay. So okay. Trenton, one good thing.
I actually liked the dynamic between Hux and Kylo Ren. I kind of like that they had this adversarial relationship. I liked Kylo Ren as a kind of kind of off kilter, unhinged type of villain. Because we always often see the villains. Darth Vader's very calm, Tarkin's very calm, the Emperor's very calm, and so I like that, and I like that dynamic that they had, kind of at each other, vying for Snoke's approval. I thought that was pretty cool.
See, again, that's something else that it's there as well, isn't it? Like it was in The Empire Strikes Back. They're looking for Vader's approval. Then the ISB, they're looking for, because that was supposed to be, was that Wolf Yularen as well?
Yeah, the guy that came in this last episode with that was Yularen.
That was Wolf Yularen. Okay, cool.
If you watch subtitles, it says Yularen when he's talking.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Cool. Brett, one good thing about The Force Awakens.
I loved BB-8. I thought they nailed BB-8 as a droid character, as a new, fill that void from having R2. I was totally fine with them in The Force Awakens. I didn't like what they did with them in Last Jedi. I thought they went way too corny. But in Force Awakens, I thought it was the perfect amount of humor for a droid. And I loved that they invented that droid. That was a real live puppet, robotics that they worked, and I thought that was amazing. So that was probably my favorite part.
I have another question for you, Brett. Are you against droid humor?
Am I against droid humor?
Yeah.
No, of course not. As long as this doesn't get too silly.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so this one might be a little bit harder. One good thing about The Last Jedi. One good thing about The Last Jedi. Back to you, Gary.
Jeez.
In your own time.
In your own time. The Return of Yoda was that in The Last Jedi when the return of seeing Yoda and him speaking to Luke and saying you're a fool, and and then he goes and runs and gets the books. I mean, again, it was good to see Yoda. There you go. I found something.
It's always good to see Yoda.
It's always good to see Yoda.
Trenton.
All right. Gary already said Yoda. So this is kind of a visual. How about, can we just say a visual thing I liked?
Yeah.
I really thought it was cool when they were on Crate and Kylo Ren and those snowtroopers are storming into the base in that overhead shot that is similar to Anakin and the 501st coming into the.
Good point. Yeah.
I just think that's I like the look of the snowtroopers, the first order snowtroopers a lot. So I just thought that was a really cool visual, really cool shot, kind of a parallel tie-in a way to the prequels, just visually. So yeah, I thought that was really neat.
Awesome, Brett.
Trenton almost stole mine. So my favorite, it's also visual and it's also on Crate, is them taking those old clunky rebel ships out on that salty terrain and having that salt kick up and expose that red dirt underneath. I love that. I thought that was brilliant. I didn't like the use of the old AT-ATs with the new AT-ATs. I thought that was dumb. They were doing that just to show the size difference. That was cheesy, but just the visual. I love the use of those old clunky rebel ships. I thought that was cool. A cool idea for them to try to use those things broken down, and Poe's foot goes through the hole and he's like, what the hell? I like that. I thought that was just a really cool shot, that scene right there. That was my favorite part of the movie, I think. Aside from Yoda.
Okay, moving on to The Rise of Skywalker. Gary.
Again, it's got to be the opening scene, isn't it? Kylo's going through and using the lightsaber to kill these people on the planet. He's looking for the exegol, and it's just that opening scene was actually pretty cool. If it was going to carry on like that, great. It didn't.
Trenton.
I really don't. So here's one I like the idea, right? So I like the idea of Kylo Ren when he's on the Death Star wreckage, and he's kind of replaying that moment when he last saw Han. The way I assume it's in his mind, So he sees Han again, and he's sort of replaying that last moment. So this time, instead of going through with and killing him, he actually does what he should have done and doesn't, and chucks the lightsaber. And that's kind of when you see he has his turn. Not 100% happy that he actually did turn, but the way they did it, I thought was pretty neat. So I think that'd be mine.
Yeah,
that was a good scene.
Cool. Brett?
I was kind of with Gary. I really liked that opening scene and Kylo slicing through those guys, and then just the visual of him just walking into that temple, for lack of a better term, I guess it was a temple. That was really cool. But aside from that, it's tough. That movie is kind of a mess. But I did like the visuals with Kylo and Rey dueling on that bridge around the ocean with the waves. Yeah. I thought that was cool. I thought the choreography was cool, and that whole thing. I thought that was a good idea as well, to have a lightsaber duel in the middle of all that anarchy with the ocean. So I'll go with that.
I'd have loved to have seen more of the dark side Rey. That I thought that.
Oh yeah! What a missed opportunity!
What a missed opportunity, right? The concept was there. The execution was PP.
Well, that's another discussion. So yeah. So listen. I asked the same question to the to BOE, Boss Bounty, and Only One Kenobi, and again when. It's funny when you ask people to name one good thing about the sequels. People struggle. They a lot of people generally struggle to that I've asked so far. They struggle to find one good part about the film. So, but yeah. So well done, gents. That was my challenge. I now have a quiz for you. So have you got your pens and paper? Yeah. So at the moment, only one is in the lead with 5 points at the moment. So.
Oh boy.
We've got 30 seconds. Well, I've not got 30 seconds because I'm not answering the questions. So hang on, where's my stopwatch? Here's my stopwatch. So you get 30 seconds, right, to answer the question. There's 6 questions. Okay, so what you do is you write your answer down, and then once you're done, and at the end of 30 seconds, you just hold it up to the screen, and I will tell you whether you are correct or not. So hang on a minute. It's Gary.
Not go well. I'm not great at trivia.
A couple
of
the last
guy. This is where my mind goes blank and go out.
Yeah, it's Gary. It's always easy when you're not the guy getting questions asked, right? You're like, oh, it's
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, so first question: what survival gear hangs on the hooks behind the Millennium Falcon's hollow game board couch? 30 seconds. Start now.
What do you call that?
I love this. This is such fun. What? Okay, so you're coming up to 10 seconds. And time's up, gents. So on the count of 3, put your answers up against the screen. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, breathing apparatus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I'm
going to give you it's actually
I mean,
breathing mask. So I'm going to give you a point each there. So you're all pretty.
All right.
Well, good job. Reset that. Okay, question number 2. Who was the first character in the original movie to say, "May the Force be with you"? And 30 seconds starts now. So who was the first character in the original movie to say, "May the Force be with you"? We've got Rocket Sith City in the house. Thank you very much for joining us, my friend. And you have 10 seconds.
Hey, what's up, Rocket City?
And time is up. Okay, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, look, we all got different answers.
Oh boy.
And you're all wrong. You're all wrong.
Oh jeez.
Wow.
It was General Dodonna or Dodonna in the briefing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Never would have got that.
Wow. That's a good
Never in a
one.
million years. No.
Okay, right. Reset that. Question number 3. Who mentions in the Jedi Council meeting that he has good relations with the Wookiees? Fairly simple, easy one there. So, off you go. 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I love this. I love the suspense. This is awesome. 10 seconds.
Not a Scooby.
And time, gents. Okay, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Trent's got it. He knows what it is. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
God, that was so dumb. I was thinking of the other guy that they. Oh, that's embarrassing. Yeah, that's
Conehead.
What's his name? What's the Jedi's name? I couldn't think of his name.
Kiadi
Mundi. I don't know. I couldn't think of his name, but you're right.
I think he's talking about Kashyyyk.
That's
and then
embarrassing.
Yoda says,
Yeah,
Right,
he asked about the
number-
situation on Kashyyyk.
that's
yeah.
right. Yep.
Question number
Okay.
4. What recreational vehicle can travel across any type of relatively flat terrain? Off you go, 30 seconds. So that is what recreational vehicle can travel across any type of relatively flat terrain? Ten seconds. And time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. What have we got? No.
Yeah.
No, it's the sail barge.
Wow.
Recreational vehicle.
Couldn't it be both?
That's a luxury item.
Okay.
Oh,
Reset that.
dodgy question.
Yeah.
Listen,
When 3 people have the same answer, there's only one person that's wrong, and it's the question master.
I think Scuba Pete got it right. Lincoln Continental. That's what
Right.
Jabba would drive.
Question number 5. Which bounty hunter had purple eyes? Off you go. Which bounty hunter had purple eyes?
Oh my gosh. Is this just
10
movies?
seconds. It's the movies, yeah.
Oh, okay. These are yellow.
And time. Okay, on 3, 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
No, Greedo.
One of them has green eyes.
Oh, Greedo.
Oh,
Yeah.
You think of him as a bounty.
Is he a bounty hunter or a henchman? I guess
I
he's
think
a
he was
bounty
classed as a. I think he was a bounty
I think
hunter,
he's a
wasn't he?
bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter.
Well, according to the question master.
Oh, there's no dodgy foul play going in here, boys.
No.
I was thinking like
Oh,
Clone
dude.
Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so basically, these questions are all based on the sequels,
Movies.
the prequels, and the original movies.
Gotcha.
So there's no sequels in here at all.
It's not
right,
mattering.
question. Huh?
It's not mattering. We aren't.
Okay, last question then. This is. I thought the rest were fairly easy-ish. This one's going to be the tougher one of the questions.
Oh, great.
How many moons circle Yavin according to the Death Star's orbital schematic? Off we go. How many moons circle Yavin according to the Death Star's orbital schematic?
Taking a swag.
10 seconds. And time, gents. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Oh god.
Oh! Well, I'm going to tell you, one of you has got it right. One of you's got it right. Okay, so you can put your answers down now, guys. So in last place is Brett with 1 point. Good job. So in second place with 2 points is Gary. So Trenton, that last question you got right. So that
I
gives you
guess.
3 points.
Jeez.
So,
I had no idea.
so that will put you level
Good game,
with
guys.
BOE and Tim from Bosk's Bounty on 3 points.
All
So
right.
currently, as it stands, you've got only one Kenobi on 5 points. Then you've got Trenton, Bosk's Bounty, and BOE on 3. And propping up that table at the moment is Brett with 1 point. So good stuff.
I think we all deserve a point for the land speeder one, though. I'd like to protest.
I listen. I make the rules. My quiz.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So no. So basically, the questions. I'm not going to tell you where I got them from because you'll all be going on there looking for the questions. And stuff like
I know, right?
So yeah, they're legit. Let's put it this way: they're legit. I don't think these things up because I'm not that clever. So these are actually proper questions that I've sourced, and I can only give you what the answer is telling me. But is the land speeder a recreational vehicle? Would you class that as recreational? I mean, you know, it doesn't have a bar, does it? It doesn't have like a dance floor or anything
It's
like
more
that.
just like a
you know,
car, right? Yeah, I guess.
yeah,
That's a
exactly.
good point.
Yeah, exactly.
Depends
Well,
on
gents.
your definition of recreational. I mean, yeah, take your land speeder and go off and all around the flat. You know, that's
Well,
what three guys-
my definition of RV would be like a sail barge. I mean, it's basically like an RV on without wheels, isn't it? Really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wanted to cruise the USA and tour around the USA, I wouldn't take a car.
Oh, you would.
Would I? Why?
Because
Why not? What's wrong with an RV?
Because once you could deviate off the path and try to park that thing up, it's not the easiest for a Brit. I can tell you. I would never take out an RV.
Don't piss in my pool. Don't ruin it for me. I have dreams. You've just shattered them with that. But yeah.
Don't.
But yeah. So that's it, guys. That's basically come to the end of it. I
Awesome.
mean, we've been going for just pretty much over an hour, near enough an hour and a half. So, but just want to thank you guys very much for taking part. It's brilliant speaking to you again and seeing you again. So
Yeah,
really
you too.
appreciate your time and stuff like that. So thank you for the guys in the chat. You could have taken part in the conversation as well, guys. You could have had your thoughts and stuff like that, but it's all good. But thank you very much for joining us anyway. So yeah, all I've got left to say again, thank you very much for these guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, and we shall catch you on the next one. Cheers now. Bye bye.
Take care, guys.
Yeah. See you guys.
Congratulations, Trent.
Oh, thanks.